Hi, my name's Michelle. I'm here with El Wingador Specialty Sauce, and you're watching Still Crazy After All These Beers.
And I'm Gary Monterosso, and I approve this message. Hey everyone, welcome to Still Crazy After All These Beers. Now, you can get your beer from a couple different sources. You can actually go to your favorite packaged goods store, supermarket, whatever, and buy beer out of the bottle from breweries. Or you can go to places called brewpubs. Now, brewpubs make the beer on premise, but they also have an attached restaurant. And that's where I am today. I'm in the Atlantic City's Tun Tavern, brewery and restaurant, and I'm here with brewer Tim Kelly. Tim, how you doing?
Outstanding. How are you?
Well, listen, if you don't know what you want to drink, the best thing to do is to get the sampler, right?
Yes, absolutely. Gives you a chance to taste a little bit of everything, find the one you like, and then you can order your pints from there.
Well, let's talk to Beth. Beth's a little bit busy right now. Beth's a bartender. Hey, Beth, how you doing?
I'm good, Gary. How are you?
Doing great. Listen, I want to get the sampler.
Okay. I got one ready for you.
She's got one ready for me. How do you like that? Through the magic of television. Here we go. Now, thank you, dear. Now, here's the sampler, Tim. Let's take a look at this. We have 5 beers. What, about 4-ounce samples, I guess?
I think they're 3. I think it's a 3-ounce sample. Enough just to give you wet your palate a little bit.
And that's the whole logic behind it. You go into a brew pub, you take a look at the beers, and there's usually plenty of beers on tap. For example, you have how many right now?
Currently 7. On a good day, we have 8. On a bad day, maybe about 5.
So we're in an in-between day right now.
Yes.
Now, there's an order to these. Am I correct? I mean, I shouldn't just necessarily go willy-nilly and just choose one at random, right?
Yeah, generally we lay them out in order of assertiveness, be it hoppy or roast flavors in the case of a stout. Looking at this going from right to left, the first is our Tun Light beer. It's the lightest beer. Basically, we make that for the bud drinkers to try and wean people off of the more commercial products. It's not very hoppy. It's very light in color, very light in body, low in alcohol. It's very drinkable. It's a good introduction. Try and get people into trying a craft beer, something that's made with a little heart, as opposed to a big mega conglomerate InBev these days, right? So.
Now, the one thing I notice as the sampler is being poured, that's a little inside joke because of the very recent sale of Anheuser-Busch to InBev. Obviously, by the time you're watching this, it's probably old news, though.
Yes.
There's no relationship necessarily between color and assertiveness, yes?
Absolutely no relation whatsoever, really. I can make a beer that's light in color, but will just make your eyebrows fall out from bitterness, from hop bitterness, and vice versa. I mean, if you look at stouts, they tend to be robust because of the roast malts, but they're not a very highly hopped beer. The next beer we have in line, next to the Tun Light, it's a dark lager. It's dark in color, but again, not highly hopped, so kind of working down the line. It has a little bit more than the Tun Light. It does have a little sweetness from the dark Munich malts that are used in there, but I try not to go too nuts on that. Basically, the first one is an answer to the Bud. This one I made an answer to Yuengling. When people come in asking for Yuengling lager, so try to give them a bit of an alternative.
No question this has more oomph to it, more body to it, a little more of a hop profile as well, I get.
Yes, use German Tettnang hops in that. So there's a little bit of a bite, but nothing like a pale ale or an IPA.
On the subject, what's the alcohol content on the first one, which was the Tun Light?
First one's just under 5. It's usually it depends on the batch. Usually hovers around 5, give or take a decimal point.
And the dark lager we had was what?
That is 6.1. That was a good. Oh no, wait, that's the IPA. The dark lager was 5.5.
5.5%. All right, let's move on to the third one now.
Yes, that'd be the pale ale.
Okay.
Little darkness in color, a little sweetness, definitely a little more assertively hopped.
I get that.
I tend to not use one of the great things about working in a brew pub is I have pretty much free reign here as far as creativity. I tend not to make the same thing twice. I mean, the pale ale, this batch is not the same as the last batch. It's not going to be the same as the next batch. This one that you're drinking has all nugget hops in it, but sometimes I'll use Cascade. Sometimes I'll mix a little Chinook to get a little pine citrus or whatever in there.
How does the, let's say, shortage of hops, even for that matter to an extent grain, how is that impacting on you, or is it impacting on you?
I haven't had so much problem with the grain, but hops are definitely an issue, especially with the more popular hops in America. Cascade is definitely, I can consider the quintessential, taste of hops, thanks to Sierra Nevada, delicious beer. That IPA that you have in your hand is reflects the last of my whole leaf Cascade hop right there. I have no more, so basically I'm going to be switching to what I have available, which currently tends to be either East Kent Golding, Fuggles, or Simcoe hops.
This is really a nice, smooth beer.
Oh, thanks. So, but back to the hops, I have several friends, and I'm trying to get all my friends and relatives to start growing their own. And come fall, we'll have a picking day and put them in freezer bags, and that'll be my stash for dry hops for the next year, hopefully.
I used to have friends that grew their own, but that was something else. It was back in the 70s, and I think most of them are getting out of prison about now.
Yeah. Well, they got to camouflage a little better. You can graft that kind of hops onto these kind of hops. They
Obviously, the darkest in color. What's this one?
Darkest in color, that's the stout. It's not an oatmeal stout because there's not enough oats, but I do put oats in it just to give it a little body. We don't pull on nitrogen, so we don't get that creamy texture that nitrogen will give you that you usually see in most brew pubs. So.
How difficult is it to brew with oats?
I haven't really had too much of a problem. Again, I don't use that much that it'll gum up the mash. The only problem I've ever had with oats last year, and in about 3 days when I brewed the Belgian white beer for the end of summer, that has a fair amount of wheat, of course, and oats also. And last year I had a stuck mash. It took me 2.5 hours, 3 hours to run that thing off.
Tim, I got to tell you, this is really a great way to find at least one flavor that you're going to like. In my case, it would be tough because I have 4 or 5 that I really enjoy here. But certainly when you order the sampler in a brew pub like the Tun Tavern or really any brew pub, you're going to find at least one flavor that's really going to be it for you. And that way you'll end up ordering a pint or 2, right?
Yeah, and it's good. If you're here with a companion, a date or whatever, one sampler to start you off, everyone can just get their sip, and one may like one and someone may like the other. It's a good way to, again, try them all and find the one you like. And
how much does this cost?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Usually
I have to ask Beth that. I just make it. I don't sell it.
They're usually about the equivalent of a pint, though.
Yeah, it's probably about $5 in that range somewhere.
Very, very reasonable. No question about that. Tim, you're doing a great job. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
We love the beers you're putting out here at the Tun Tavern.
Thanks.
And again, when you go to a brew pub, ladies and gentlemen, consider the sampler. If you're not sure which flavor you want, you get to try them all that way. And that's what we're doing here at the Tun Tavern. We will see you next week on Still Crazy After All These
Beers.
That's it. See you next time.